I've set myself the crazy goal of winning my age group at the Ironman 70.3 World Champs at age 50, with just 12 weeks of real training time. Here's how I'm going to prepare without burning out my life in the process. In this video, I want to give you an update on my triathlon season so far, and then in the second half, I'll walk you through exactly how I plan to make the most of my limited training time as I prepare for the Ironman 70.3 Champs in Marbella. My big goal for 2025 is to win the 50 to 54 age group at the Ironman 70.3 World Champs in early November. It's a tough target and maybe even an unrealistic one, but I'm someone who needs a big challenge to get the best out of myself. So I'm building my whole season around that race, but it's not my first and only event this year. So my first event was Ironman Mallorca 70.3 in May 2025, where I improved my 2024 time by 11 minutes and finished second in my age group. I was pleased with the result, but honestly, I didn't enjoy the race very much. A few days beforehand, I picked up a virus, which gave me a sore throat and a bit of a fever. And getting in the sea and racing for 4.5 hours isn't exactly what you feel like doing when you're feeling run down and tired and ill. And it later turned out to be COVID, and I was ill for quite a few weeks afterwards. And in hindsight, I probably shouldn't have raced, but at the time I thought it was just a mild cold. Either way, I was happy with the outcome. I was only 39 seconds away from winning my age group, and Mallorca's a big competitive race, so I'll take that as a good result in the circumstances. Once I'd recovered from my virus and the race, which took about 4 weeks, I started getting back into my training again. My next planned race was the Alpe d'Huez Long Distance Triathlon in the French Alps in late July 2025. I'd earmarked this one firmly as a C category event, meaning it wasn't a big priority for me. I just wanted to get round and enjoy it without feeling like I needed to be in peak condition. We were there on a family holiday, so I didn't really want the race to be the focus of the trip. However, it's still a grueling mountainous event, and I knew that if I raced it hard, it would take too long to recover from. Also, I didn't want to burn myself out by training for it really hard and then immediately do the race and then start training hard again for the Ironman 70.3 World Champs straight after. So in preparation for this race, I did 2 rides, 2 runs and 1 or 2 swims per week, which meant 5 or 6 sessions per week. Most of my rides were around 2 hours long, while my runs and swims averaged around 1 hour. I included a fast group ride on Saturdays and a group interval run with friends on Wednesdays. So although I wasn't doing a huge amount of volume, there were a couple of challenging sessions thrown in each week. And on race day, I set myself a conservative pacing strategy so that I didn't race too hard. Even so, I found this race to be really brutal. I really suffered out there. The swim was fine, but the bike, it was 4 big mountain climbs, and each one was like an hour to an hour and a quarter long. And the heat and altitude just drained me from the beginning. My power output was way down on the bike, and I was getting overtaken all the time on the climbs. And it didn't help that I'd gone with a time trial bike and an aero helmet. The TT bike felt really heavy and uncomfortable on the steep climbs, and the helmet just made me even hotter. Sweat was like literally pouring off me the whole time. I'd seen the elite athletes using TT bikes in my very limited pre-race research, so I thought that was the way to go. But looking back, I'd have been better on my road bike with a nice ventilated lid instead of my aero helmet. So eventually I crawled up the final climb, which was Alpe d'Huez, 21 famous hairpins straight out of the Tour de France. And there was a section called the fan zone where hundreds of supporters line the road and they form a tunnel for you to cycle through, just like in the Tour de France on the mountain stages. Everyone was shouting and cheering, and I was in such a bad way that I actually started crying. It's happened to me before in long, hard races, and I can't really explain it. It's not like I'm upset or anything. I even heard one kid say, "Is that guy crying?" And then I took a sip of my energy drink, and that kind of crying emotion seemed to just vanish, and I was fine again. So after the bike, all that was left was the 20k run, and thankfully it's about 8 degrees cooler at the top of the mountain than it is at the bottom or going up the mountain. But I was in bits before starting that run, and I still got round. It's hilly in parts, mixed terrain, but I kept running and I didn't get overtaken, apart from the 15 times I had to stop to dig stones out of my Nike Alphafly 3 shoes. I was just happy to finish in the end. The views were incredible, but the heat and altitude had got to me and made it far tougher than it needed to be. I've honestly never even checked my result, and I'm not planning to either. If it had been a bigger priority, I'd probably have done more homework and maybe used a road bike and a ventilated helmet. So lesson learned on that, and that is, even if it's a low priority race, you still need to do your homework. The upside was that I felt recovered in about 4 days because I'd been forced to ride at such a low intensity in that heat. So I was in decent shape to start proper training again within a week or two. The real reason I did Mallorca and Alpe d'Huez this year was simply to keep me focused and motivated all season. If I don't have exciting and slightly scary races in the calendar, I tend to cut corners in training. And in that respect, the plan has worked. I've stayed motivated all year and I haven't burned out yet. After Alpe d'Huez, I had just 12 weeks to get myself ready for the Ironman 70.3 Worlds. That's not a lot of time, but I'm hoping it's enough. I've already got a solid base in the swim, bike and run, and to be honest, I sometimes find longer training blocks just leave me feeling flat and burned out anyway. Those 12 weeks will need to be my best training of the year if I want even a chance of winning my age group. So at the time of recording this, I've done 4 weeks of training and have 8 weeks until race day. But like many of you, I've got a career and a family, so time for training and recovery is limited. I'll be using our MyProCoach Advanced Half Distance Triathlon 12-week plan, and it's split into 4-week blocks with every 4th week as an active recovery week. I'll also try to include as many group sessions as I can, especially for cycling and swimming. There are some strong cyclists where I live, and riding with them makes the hours and the hard efforts go by much easier. When I ride on my own, I start getting bored after an hour. On top of that, I'm also going to experiment with supplementing creatine, which I'll make a separate video about. Because I'm mostly limited to 1 workout per day, a heavy week might look like this. Monday, rest day. Tuesday, cycle 90 minutes to 2 hours with tempo efforts. Wednesday, early morning group swim, then a group run with intervals in the evening. Thursday would be cycle 90 minutes to 2 hours easy. Friday would be an early morning group swim plus 20 minutes of strength and conditioning. Saturday would be a group cycle 2 to 3 hours fast. And then Sunday would be a long run, which is kind of an hour to hour and a half mostly. I have to admit though, I found it quite tough so far. It's a step up from what I've been doing previously, and I've definitely appreciated my first active recovery week. But the first few weeks are often like that until your body gets used to it. If I did any more training than that, it would get really hard to fit around my life. And remember, each workout takes extra time for getting ready, showering, traveling, and all those kinds of things. And I find it's often better to do fewer sessions but make them count, with a bit more volume or intensity each time. That way you're fresher for every workout. That's also another reason I like group training, because it's easier to push yourself a bit harder or go a bit longer, and you also have people waiting for you, so you kind of have to show up and there's no procrastinating. So that's the plan to get in shape for the Ironman 70.3 World Champs. Now I just have to hope it all goes smoothly. No illnesses, no injuries, and no unexpected life events. You can achieve a lot in 12 weeks of consistent progressive training, but only if you stay consistent. If you like this video, I also made a similar one in March about how my training was progressing then, which you should be able to see on screen right now, or you can also check out the triathlon playlist that's on screen. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.